In my previous tutorial, I showed you how to resize terminal, but how about finding out what size it is currently? Now, if you're familiar with the basics of Bash, you know that variables start with a $sign, and there are a bunch of system variables that are already set, and usually they're full case commands. That's why you're not supposed to, when you're creating variables, it's bad practice to make them fully capitals because they are case sensitive, because usually system variables are that, and you don't want to overwrite some system variables. But if I type in $sign here and I double tap tab, it auto completes for me and shows me a bunch of the variables that are available on my system. One right here you can see is called columns, and another one is called lines, and that is the size of the terminal that I'm working in. If I hit Q here to get out of that, and I'll type clear to clear the screen, I can now echo out those variables. So I can echo out columns, did I type it wrong? Oh, yes I did. Forgot an N. There we go. So we have 92 columns. And if I do lines, I got 23 lines, which is just about what I figured out in the previous tutorial when I was resizing it. I think I had 23 and 93 is what I had. And of course, just like any other echo command, we can type out a full sentence here. We can say X, and then we can say lines. So I get an output, nice little, it's 92 by 23. And remember, these aren't pixels, these are columns and lines, so they're not going to be equal. So if you type in 25 by 25 when you're resizing, which we'll do right here, resize -s, and if I do 25, 25, you can see it doesn't give you a square. And the reason for that is that obviously, since it's taller, the lines are bigger than the columns. But since we know that from our output before that we were doing 29 by 23, we can just type in, not 29, 92 by 23, and I type that backwards. So I got a real long box here. 92. There we go. Get it back on the screen here. I put it back to its original size. So that is how, a little review on how to resize, and also showing you how to find out the current size. One of the things you could do with this is if your program, your script, requires terminal to be at least a certain size, otherwise it may not display properly, you can do a check if columns does not equal 92, is not greater than 92, then you can either have it resize or ask the user to resize. So that is where this comes in handy. And that's just, formatting. If your program goes really wide or really tall, you can resize the terminal, or give an error output saying your terminal is not big enough to run this program. And there are programs out there to do that, because to display properly, to display all their information, the terminal has to be a certain size. So, quick review. To resize terminal, resize -s, and then your lines and columns. And to find out what your terminal is at, you can just echo out the system variables for columns and lines. Whoops, don't forget the $sign there. And of course, actually, it'd probably be better if you did it the other way around, since that's the way the resize command works. It takes in lines and columns. 23 by 92. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Visit bashscript17 for more video tutorials like this, or filmsbychris.com for a bunch of stuff, open source, both terminal and program related, all the way up to video effects and game programming. Have a great day.